In this video, we are going to learn all about React.js. By the end of this lesson, you should be able to describe what React.js is and what problems that it tries to solve. So we're going to learn all about that right now. So React.js is what we call a user interface component library. Okay, meaning it is just simply put a library like any other in JavaScript. So it's a library built in JavaScript to build out user interfaces. Okay, and we use these things called components to build out those user interfaces. React.js was built by the team at Facebook to help solve some of the major problems that the team was facing dealing with complex state. So every single web application or web page has some sort of state data that it's concerned with, right? What the user is going to be interacting with on your web page. And your application gets into what we call a certain state. And how we transition from one state to another is basically what gives us the functionality of our websites and our web applications today. Facebook, if you can imagine, has a lot of data that they deal with. Think about all the things that you would see on any given Facebook page. Okay, so you log in and you have all of your profile information. You have tabs that can take you to your new events. You see immediately your long form scrolling feed of posts. You see your friends' posts and things like that. So that is a lot of data, a lot of disparate data that's sort of pieced together and put together on a web page so that you can interact with it. Okay? So that's kind of the problem that Facebook was trying to solve. How do we manage all of this data without bogging down the actual DOM or the web browser? Okay? And so the team built Facebook. The team at Facebook built React.js to solve that problem. And they started using it internally to build Facebook. And ever since has become widespread. It is not a framework, okay? It is simply just a library that we use to do one thing really well. So instead of going out and creating an entire framework that has all these opinions about how your data should look, about how you should create your files, Facebook went out and created React to do one portion of that really, really well. And that's simply render user interfaces, render components, take data and put it on the screen. And this is what makes React so powerful, because it gives us the ability to write everything in these compartmentalized small little pieces of components, which brings us to our next point. React is incredibly scalable because every single thing that we build is a compartmentalized piece of code, a component that we can use to compose out our applications. And because of this component pattern, it is actually really fun to write code in React. Okay? And remember, React is unopinionated when it comes to how you manage your data. Built into React, we have this amazing state management flow that we're going to learn about over the next few days. And inside of each component, you can manage your data and your state there. Or you can use third-party libraries like Redux to manage your state for you. Once again, the only thing that React cares about is taking that data and rendering it to the screen, putting it on the DOM. And it does this through this thing called the virtual DOM. Okay? And we're gonna talk about the virtual DOM at length, but essentially what the virtual DOM is, as a high-level TLDR for you, the virtual DOM is an engine or a virtual representation of what the DOM will be. Okay, so what your HTML elements will become in the DOM tree, React has taken and made into its own little engine. And when you write your code, you essentially give your code to that engine, and React knows to take that code and compile it to the screen. Okay? And in that process, in that little engine, we call it the virtual DOM, which we're going to talk about at length. Another thing that's really cool about React is the way that we write React code using this new sort of markup language that looks like HTML, but it's actually called JSX. And the term new dog, old tricks comes to mind. Because if you're familiar with things like XML, you're going to look at this and be like, why are we trying to reinvent the wheel here? Well, JSX is actually not XML. If you're familiar with it, that's great. If you're not, that's even better. But JSX is a new sort of templating style language that we use to represent our markup or our HTML, and we can also write JavaScript within it. So inside this little HTML looking code, we actually can write inline JavaScript and do a whole bunch of other things as well. So JSX is one of the most powerful tools that have come out in recent years because of React.js, and React.js built it so that we can use it to abstract away some of the complexities that React.js actual API presents. Okay. Now that we kind of know a little bit about what React.js is, let's learn a little bit more at the best possible place. Let's go look at the documentation. So now we're going to go and shift gears and look at reactjs.org. So notice that nothing here is different than what I have recently mentioned. React.js is a JavaScript library for building user interfaces. Okay, they have 3 reasons why and why they think that make React.js really, really good. Okay, part of your process is going to be to dissect these few paragraphs here, these 3 sections, and read through this page. Okay, I want you to go ahead and take the time to read through this documentation and get familiar with what is built here and what is being presented here by React.js. Okay, but before I have you go and do that, what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you a little bit about what's cool about what we just talked about. So this is some React.js code. We are rendering a component called hello message to the screen. And that message, hello message, looks like a div, right? This is the JSX that I was talking about. Okay, but notice we can do some interesting things here. This idea that we can actually write in curly braces some string interpolation, which we're going to talk about at length this week, is absolutely fascinating. And we're pulling in this name prop that we're passing down as Taylor. So the first thing that I'm going to have you do, and I want you to do this, you can pause the video right now, go to reactjs.org, and I want you to enter your name right here instead of Taylor. So for me, I'm going to enter Ryan. Okay? And if you notice, instantaneously, the message that we are printing to the screen becomes hello Ryan. Okay? And then I can go and change this. Okay? You can write right here in line, and I want you to do the same thing. Follow along with me. Say, hello, my name is. Okay? And finally, the last thing that I want you to do is I want you to shout it from the rooftops. I want you to tell all the people that you know how loud your name is. So do it in an H1 tag instead of a div. Now if you look, we change right here on the result. Okay? So this is what's super fun about React. This looks like HTML. And we have some JavaScript. And it's all in one little compartmentalized component. And as we learn the ins and outs with React this week, you will learn that scaling a web application becomes really fun, really trivial, and there's a steep learning curve, but we're going to get over that. And it's going to be really amazing once you get there. Okay? So the next steps that I want you to take on your own is go ahead and navigate to reactjs.org and read everything that is on this page and play around with some of the JavaScript code that's here for you. Okay? Kind of take a look at what's going on here under the hood and play around with some of these examples. And then the very next thing that I want you to do is click on this Get Started tab and start going through some of the tutorials. Take, I don't know, maybe the next 30 minutes or so of your time, no more than that, and play around with React. Okay? Once you are done playing around with React, there's a prompt for you inside of the training kit to write a paragraph about what you think React.js is and what problems it tries to solve. You will submit that paragraph to your project manager as soon as you have it completed. Thanks for tuning in. I'm really excited to start this React journey with you.